and that one day their grandkid comes over and says, hey, I think it was Marlena who was possessed. That was cool. It's a very powerful thing. So how can we use it online? Well, I mentioned podcasting. Maybe you're not even thinking about podcasting. I didn't think about it necessarily. I saw Mark speak at one of these meetings, and then I saw him speak at Open Camp. I was like, I need to just do it. The interesting thing here, this guy, Scott Sigler, he, like many writers, just kept trying to get published, but he had a tough time. So he decided in 2005, I'm just going to record a chapter a week and get it out there online. He wasn't the first person to do this, but he's arguably the biggest. He went from one book to a dozen books that you could listen to. Right here, he has almost 5,000 people following him on Facebook. Here he's announcing a little mini convention that he's holding for himself. Wow. Yeah, wow. I would kill to be in that type of a position where I could just jump on YouTube and say, hey, it's Chris Fest, come on down. It would be great. And I mentioned that I'm going to talk about how WordPress factors into this. In the case of a podcast, there are different plugins, different things you could do to help deliver them. And I use BLUBRRY PowerPress. For me, it was the easiest one. It was recommended, and it's very easy. I just downloaded it. And for people who are totally new to WordPress, you can also simply go to your dashboard, and in there's a section. If you go to your plugins, there's a search, and you can install things now right from your WordPress install. The neat thing about PowerPress is it gives you this little thing right here, and it allows you to go in and adjust how things look. When somebody goes to my actual site at roadtripfromhell.com, you'll see at the bottom there's a little player. I didn't write the code for that. I just went in, there are several options, I chose the one that I liked the look of, and at the bottom of any post I do, there's a little section, and I just record my podcast, load the MP3 wherever I'm hosting it, and the neat thing is when I hit the publish button, this becomes this. If you look down here, we have the player. And people can listen right there on my site. They can download it however they want to interact with the content I'm creating. It's there. I didn't have to do much other than record it. WordPress did the rest. And the next kind of sequential content I'm going to talk about is series. Most of us, when we blog or we read blogs, everything's kind of random. If it's a tech blog, Monday they might be talking about storage. Tuesday, they're kind of having fun. They found this really cool juggling machine, and this thing really does juggle. It's really cool. I mainly put that in for Mason, I admit. Wednesday, the iPad 2 comes out, so like every other tech site, you have to write about it. Hopefully you've tried to figure out a different slant on it because you're not going to defeat the big guys. And that's something else I get into a little bit later, is putting more of yourself into it. Then you talk about cell phones, and then you talk about the National Day of Unplugging. But what if on that Friday you decided, I'm going to have a whole series next week about cell phones. Either that's the whole thing or in addition to. And on Thursday or Friday you start telling people, this is what I'm going to be doing next week, and then next week you deliver. Like I said, I'm not a big tech guy, but let's just say I have this phone and I'm thinking about buying the phone on Thursday. And Dan tells me, you got to check the site out because they're going to be talking about these phones. Monday I'm going to go just because I want to see what the person's style is like. Think about your own style. Is your style something that really speaks about who you are? Or is it just kind of very methodical? It should really reflect who you are. Tuesday I'm interested because that's the phone I had and I want to see what this person thinks. I'll show up Wednesday just because I'm already there on the site. Thursday is the big day. I want to see if this is the phone I'm going to get. Friday I'm going to show up because I just want to see the recap and see what people have been saying about these phones. A week-long series has always worked for me. Every single day on my site, if you search queries that worked in Google, I'm near the top. And every single day, people come to my site, writers, looking for queries that worked. And when they go there, they don't just get, it's not like they just go and then bounce away. They read other queries, because that week I did a whole series of queries that actually, in some manner, worked for me. And most people who are, in this case, writing, they're interested in more than usually one type of writing. And if you're talking about cell phones, most people who are looking at cell phones are thinking about a couple different things. So I hope you could see how the series is a very interesting thing that can work no matter what you're doing. Another type of series is the work in progress. It kind of lends itself to visual things. In this case, a friend who primarily makes his living making t-shirts was told, hey, we want to commission you to make this really cool Kurt Russell t-shirt paying homage to some of his goofier movies. So he could just say one day, hey, this is the t-shirt I made. Or he could say, I'm making this t-shirt and here's the rough. Here are the pencils. Hey guys, I'm starting to ink this thing. It's generating interest. People are going to keep coming back. He's going to show them the inks and then what he does when he brings it into his computer. And by the time it's printed and as a t-shirt, people have seen this and they clamor for these things. Obviously, I'm not wearing the Kurt Russell t-shirt, but if it's your thing, you'll buy it. Another type of work in progress, my wife is into historical clothing. She's not necessarily doing visual art like my friend Ray, but in this case, whenever she gets spikes in traffic, it's when she's showing something in progress. In this case, an embroidery project where here's the rough, here I am transferring it, starting it, working on it, and there's the finished thing. I think everybody here, no matter what you're doing, can figure out some kind of way to make the work in progress work for you. If you're an interior designer, think about HGTV. It's a network that's made a living on works in progress. They've just condensed it. It's not like This Old House. You don't have to watch a whole season anymore. In a half hour, you could see something being stripped down and rebuilt. It's a very powerful type of sequential content. Maybe you think, I still don't have anything visual. I'mJustWalking.com was my favorite website from last year. Guy in New York decided, I need a leave of absence. I'm tired of my job. And I've always wanted to walk across America. It took him 152 days, and he chronicled it on this website. Think about that. It's just a work in progress, but it was powerful because he also tied it in with the first sequential content type I mentioned, stories. He was telling stories about people. If I saw that he was coming through my area and said, hey, I'm going to offer you a place to sleep, he discussed those families. And it was really interesting because the media started picking up on it, and he was very laid back. He's not walking for any reason. He just wanted to walk across America. And there he is running into the Pacific Ocean at Rockaway Beach in Oregon. But the interesting thing is content creators, right there at the time of this screen capture, he has 733 comments. People congratulating him, people saying, you changed my life, I'm going to do something big that I've always wanted to do because you walked across the country. And if you think about that amount of comments, there are some big people out there, social network gurus like Chris Brogan. He typically gets 100 to 200 comments. This is a nobody who became a somebody just because he decided to chronicle his walk across America.